So basically, happy Independence Day to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Same to you. Same to you. Happy Independence Day. You're also part of the defense family, and I see you're wearing an Air Force T-shirt. Wow, great. I like it. It brings back so many nostalgic memories.
So basically, ma'am, in this interview, we'll be discussing about your motivation to join Indian Air Force, the whole selection process back then, and your journey in Indian Air Force, and what learnings have you received from them, which you are using currently in your civil life. But before that, I must welcome you and thank you for accepting the invite to come on my channel and explain your experiences to the all the defense aspirants who will be watching this.
Thank you so much, Akash. The pleasure is entirely mine. I consider myself very honored that I can share my life experience, which can add to the richness of the younger generations. I believe that we, as the older generation or the seniors or veterans or whatever you want to put a name to it, we have a strong responsibility of sharing and motivating the younger lot. Only then my life has a meaning if I have been able to touch some lives by sharing my experiences. So the honor is completely mine. Thank you for inviting me to the show. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So I have researched a lot about you. So you were part of basically the first batch of women technical officers joining the Indian Air Force. So even
Yes.
if you know, there is a movie which made on Gunjan Saxena, which is very much in news. So we would like to know how was life back then in Indian Air Force as a first technical woman officer joining in IAF.
Okay, so I was commissioned on 6th of April 1993. After my graduation, I was doing my post graduation, and I was the rebellious sorts. Okay, I never understood this thing that you being a woman cannot do this, or you being a woman or a girl have to be careful. Those kind of barricades were something I was not willing to listen to or live by. And my father always gave me the independence to do whatever a boy in the house could do. He made me very, very independent. I used to run errands which were like generally done by the sons of the house. So I'm talking way back in 80s and 1990 and stuff like that. And I belong to Punjab. My father was in the electricity board. He retired as a superintending engineer. So he was in an officer grade and all that kind of stuff. So whenever I would want to do some work, I would want to do a job, the consensus of the relatives or certain people would be, that now she is the marriageable age, she's eligible, marry her off. But me, I was not interested in that. I needed to do something to prove my existence. I had that kind of self-drive, motivation, those restrictions of being a woman not agreeing to me. I went for some job interviews, but then I found that the atmosphere was very different. For a woman as an engineer in the field at that time, things were very, very challenging. Then I had a course mate in MTech who was a colonel in the army, and he was doing the MTech as a pre-release kind of a course. He told me the way you are, the way you are fearless and adventurous and always wanting to prove yourself, and you are so independent, you are the right fit for defense. So I was like, defense, does it take women? So like he was like, I'm not sure, but there is a talk going on. Then I came across a job posting that defense is opening up for women, and well, I was the first one to jump. My father was initially that, you can do a job later on. First, you need to settle down in life. For me, settling down means I should be financially independent. I should have an individual standing in the society of my own. Went into defense. I was called for SSB to Dehradun SSB. Got through. I loved the process, except for the one thing, I was not used to waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay. And I was a totally pampered child at home. We had servants at home. And in defense, while you go for your selection, it's all right. You go to the mess, you eat. The 5 days are like an adventure. But yes, later on, my journey was very, very different. and I got selected. I came to AFTC, Air Force Technical College in Jalhali in Bangalore, underwent a training. We were joining as short service commission officers because permanent commission was still, a dream. And we were the first experimental batch. When I say experimental, there were no policies around how women should be or how they are to be handled, what are the physical standards that they can meet without damaging their body, because the way men can run on a hard surface, women will need certain adaptation to the shoes, because I remember the parade shoes that we had were so heavy, most of us started getting pain in the ankles because of that, and pain in the knees, because you're supposed to stamp your foot and you're supposed to talk in a loud voice. Well, it was an interesting journey. Today what I am is all because of my years in defense, and I want to remember and thank each of my bosses in defense who nurtured me, who gave me the strength, even if there were some harsh words spoken. Okay, even if there were things spoken to make us realize that we cannot be weak physically and here, because it all starts here. It is when I start thinking I'm a woman, I cannot go out at 2 a.m. in the morning and carry out a task, I have already shut down the possibility. But the minute I'm strong up here and I'm willing to take those chances and challenges, there is tremendous growth. And I think in Air Force, the motto itself, which is touch the sky with glory, you know, that is limitless. For us, it was not touch the sky with glory, but go beyond, because we were the first batch. And I definitely had it in me, along with the 25 women who were there with me in the course, that we have to prove that women are no less, neither in the brains, nor in tenacity, nor in our determination, nor in the physical strength. Today, if you want to achieve something, you can do it. You just have to be determined and you have to have the passion. So that is what brought me into defense.
So, ma'am, how was the selection system there, the 5 days process? How did you basically prepare back then?
Okay, so I wasn't very clear as to what will happen when we were supposed to enter the Indian Air Force, because as you know, internet is a very new age thing for our generation. Internet, mobile phones, they came way later. It was only by word of mouth or what you read in the newspapers, or you ask your peers, or you ask your friends and teachers. So I had not prepared too much, but yes, I had given a lot of entrance exams for other government jobs. So I was aware of the psychometric testing which will happen. You know, so you have to have your basic trade test, like engineering knowledge test. So we had a written. If I'll tell you about the procedure, like how I applied, it was totally manual. We had to fill out an application form with hand, and attach all the photostats and stuff like that. Today it is very very easy for you youngsters, because online application, if you have a smart CV ready and a soft copy of your photograph ready and all your certificates and mark sheets attached in a zip file, your process is like 5 minutes and I can apply to a job today, right? For me, I remember going around in the market for 1.5 days to, get a clear photostat. Uh, I would go to the shop and the electricity power has been disrupted, and he'll say 2 घंटे बाद आना, बिजली आएगा तो मैं photostat करूंगा, so you're going back, all that kind of stuff. So we did the manual process, we sent it, and we were shortlisted. I came to know later on there were like 40 odd thousand applicants, and we were about a few hundred who were called for SSB, and finally we were 25 of us who went into the course. And yeah, I say it with a lot of honor. I'm the sword of honor of my course. I topped my course. I was the gold medalist. I was an appointment holder when I passed out also. I feel very proud of my achievement. It's because of the training. And then if I may go into the selection process, you land up at the SSB. And the first day you have a engineering knowledge test. It is way back then. Today,
Yes.
as we were talking earlier, you told me they have a combined entrance test or something for the defense forces, right? Some
Yes.
common entrance test. But
So
there, yeah.
we can
So
enter using FCAT or CDS currently.
yeah, so there we landed up. We were received at the railway station, then we were taken to the SSB center, and we were briefed that, these are your rooms. We were like 12, 15 in a hall, and there were common toilets and stuff like that. So it was hostel, food facility, everything was taken care of. First day, we had the engineering knowledge test. So people who did not clear the engineering knowledge test were sent back that day itself. After that, there was another psychometric test, which was a written test of, those skills, your logical skills, your analytical skills, your English skills, like any other entrance you have. So you'll have some questions of English, you'll have some basic maths questions, you'll have some, those logical questions as to square and all that kind of stuff. I forget the name you call. So we had that set of entrance, and then next day we had certain EQ tests. They will show you the picture of an object, and you have to straight away write the first word which comes into your mind. So there were those visual triggers, stimulation given, and there was the voice trigger also. So we had two of those tests. After that, there was another elimination round. So people who did not pass all these, they went back at the end of the second day. We were again, we were lesser in number on the third day morning. Third day morning then started with our physical tests, all the standard Burma bridge, the rope, monkey climbing, and, all the huddles, the physical hurdles. You're supposed to clear all the huddles, and they test you. And after that, then there are brainstorming sessions. You get group exercises. So they'll share a task with you, and they will see how you're able to make or formulate a plan as a leader. So let me tell you one thing, not only from the testing point of view, but from my own experience also. Defense is one of the most robust selection processes I have come across in my life. I have worked for 11 years in defense. I have worked for 14 years in a SME, where I was heading the operations and production. Post that, I have worked for 2.5 years in the corporate world. So I have seen the various brackets, but the selection process in defense is really, really very robust. They are testing you for your intelligence, your IQ, when they test you for your trade. They test you for your EQ, your emotional intelligence, when they give you the analytical psychometric tests. And in addition to that, when they give you the brainstorming sessions, they give you group exercises in the field, they give you a strategy discussion in a room to put across as a group. People are watching you. The interviewers or the officers who are assessing you are watching you. They see your skills, soft skills as a team lead. How well are you able to include everyone in the group and move forward with the group without trying to emerge as a leader yourself? If they see you putting down your teammates, that itself gives them indication about your EQ. So it's very, very important that you should be a team player, because understand one thing: whenever you go for a selection as an officer in the defense, you are going to be leading a large number of men who look up to you for everything. They put their life on the line on your command. You have to lead by example. You have to take all decisions, taking the weakest member of your team into your thinking. So that translates down into the selection process as well. Because if they find that your match is not too good, you are not trainable, then maybe that becomes an issue. That becomes a game changer for you. So they test you on your IQ, your EQ, your brainstorming sessions and stuff, and they test you physically also because you're doing hurdles. So if you clear all that, you go into an interview process. then how clear is your communication skill? How confident are you? How are you able to engage the 5 people who are giving you the final interview? That all carries. In addition to that, your turnout makes a difference. You have to be extremely disciplined. You cannot land up late even during the selection process, because that itself will give you some negative marking. They see your commitment and passion. It all comes across in discipline, how well you are turned out, whether you're clean in your clothes, whether you're wearing closed shoes. Let me share this with you, which one of the interviewers had shared later on with us, that all the people, girls will generally wear sandals and stuff like that. But girls who were little formally dressed and not over makeup done on their face did get a slight deviation. So all these things matter. It matters how you carry yourself.
True. My next question would be, how was life in the academy? Because I know that you went to AFTC, because back then it was not the process that you go to AFA for 6 months and then your technical courses. So how was life at AFTC back then, and what was your experience?
Hard, hard in the initial days, but I loved every bit of it. I loved every bit. I shared with you that I was a very pampered and loved child. I still am very pampered and loved by my family, okay? But my father said one thing to me. He said, you've heard all the rosy stories and you are fighting to go to defense, because I actually had to fight to go and join the training course. He said, but understand, I love you very much. So if you want to come back at any time, all you have to do is send me a message. I'm willing to pay the price of the training and I'll get you back. I never understood that till I landed up in the training, because I was a person who was not very active in games. I was not a person who was used to, gymming or physical, this thing or whatever. And at home, I would do almost nothing, to the extent of my food being packed or put in front of me on the dining table, or me getting a glass of water, there were servants. In defense, I landed up, and everything is to be done on your own, you know, from managing your clothes to going and eating. And then, in addition to that, they will train you, because understand, it is the responsibility of the academy to make you fit to lead an active defense life. Nobody can predict whether we are going to get into some ops operations, or we are going to get into a warlike situation. So you have to be physically and mentally fit. So they put you through the grind. From the day we entered the academy, we were told you will not walk anywhere, you will run. And there it started. Within the first 5 to 7 days, all the muscles in my body were paining. My feet had swollen up to one size larger than my shoe size. But then it is all good, because today, the kind of stamina I have, the kind of life I'm able to lead, and the kind of situations and challenges that I can handle is all because what defense put into me. You know, I have read in places that, Gunjan Saxena, there are certain people coming up with certain, whatever, objections or whatever. But I'll tell you, if you go through something in defense, it is with the right intention. I don't say that wrong people are not there. They are there everywhere. But the defense processes, the defense training, the defense culture, the way of life is so good that anybody in uniform, I could trust them with my eyes closed at midnight, be it a man or a woman, because you look at each other as family. So even if somebody has told me something which was a bit harsh, it has led to my growth and my mental strength, which makes me what I am. I think there is no better environment and no safer environment for a woman than defense. And I told this to my daughter as well, but she has different dreams. We are all different people. She liked the defense life, but she chose to not join defense. But I think it's a great opportunity. It's a great career for women, even men. It's a very, it's a matter of pride if you have served for the country. because no matter what you are paid, you don't think twice about going beyond your line of duty. You know, that sense of patriotism, that sense of honor of wearing the uniform, it makes you something else altogether.
My next question is, how was the journey within Indian Air Force? What and all posting did you get, and your roles and responsibility as a technical officer?
Okay, so I am basically an electrical and electronics communication graduate, and I was inducted into aeronautical engineering electronics branch. So when I say electronics branch, means all avionics and other things, and not the mechanical side of the things. So I was into that. After AFTC, I was posted to Gorakhpur. So Gorakhpur is a base in UP, I think. Yeah, yes. My geography is pretty bad, so please excuse me, okay? Gorakhpur, I was posted to, and before I landed up there, I had heard hundreds of stories, including my dad telling me that don't venture out because that area is full of, mafias and this and that, and people will shoot you and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I was at young age. You don't mind taking risks and adventures. I went to Gorakhpur. It's an amazing place. I loved it. But we were like some exotic animals in the zoo because we were the first batch. So in uniform, wherever we moved, people would just stop doing whatever they were doing and they would just look. If my scooter is going somewhere, the eyes would just follow my scooter and then, it would stop. So we were used to that kind of attention. I then got posted to simulator, the Jaguar simulator. I was type trained on that, post working on the simulator. And it had mainframe computers. Now the systems must be very, very different. But when I joined, the computers were the size of an Almirah, a Godrej Almirah. So like there are 14, 15 Godrej Almirahs and they house the computer. So it was fun. I had an amazing set of people. Everybody working under me was older than me. So that was it was a great learning experience. I spent 4 years, almost 4.5 years in Gorakhpur. From there, I was posted to Ambala. Again, I was in the simulator. I spent about 3 years in Ambala. Post that, I was posted to Hindon, Air Force Station Hindon, and I was working on similar systems over there. In addition to the simulators, I was working on the runway lighting, on the runway systems, and coordinating, because I was looking after general electrical duties as well. It was a great experience, and I did volunteer for some admin duties also, because I would like to do stuff which is possible. And yeah, it's been a great learning experience.
So, ma'am, how does one day in your life look like as a technical officer in terms of the routine, in terms of did you have some drill, PT? How does one day look like?
Okay. See, the training time is very different. Training time, you go for a morning health run, then you get up, you get dressed, you go for breakfast. From breakfast, you go to classes. From classes, you come for lunch. Then you might have one odd afternoon session of classes. Then you go for the evening PT. Then they give you about an hour or so to change, watch TV, and then dinner and time on your own. By 9:30, 10 o'clock, lights out. That is your training schedule. In a normal posting area for a technical officer, things are slightly different. You do not have a morning health run as such. So if you want to carry on running, it is fine. Working hours in Gorakhpur were 7 o'clock to 2 o'clock, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. So I would land up at the base before 7 o'clock, because there are a lot of people in that age, your age, who love to sleep. So if you are 2 or 5 minutes late at entering on the gate, your name will be noted down and you'll be pulled up for discipline. All that has to be done, because we need to be disciplined. You can't fly a mission or carry out an ops even 1 second late. So you have to be on time. So we would land up after breakfast, or we would opt for the breakfast to come to our units wherever we were, and we would be on work by 7. The day would start with looking at your routine work and going around a check of all your systems, whether everything is working, not working. If it has not been working, what are the actions taken? What are we going to do today? All that kind of normal routine. And there would generally be a meeting once or twice a week with the CEO, which is CNO, they call it, the Chief Engineering Officer of the base. And he would give you all the brief about what all is going on, what all is going to happen. So they would be pretty much like normal work with meetings and all that kind of stuff. By the afternoon, 2 o'clock, you will pack up, you'll go for lunch. If you have work which needed to be completed and you've not been able to do it because of meetings, you'll come back. There are times I've worked till 5 o'clock in the evening. There are times I've been a briefing officer. When I say a briefing officer, you prepare a report of all the systems which are functional, all the things which are needed to be known by a pilot when he takes off. So if day flying is happening, the briefing would happen at 5:30 a.m. During those days, I would be going to the base by 5:15 so that I'll collect all the reports, go through them myself and do the briefing. After finishing the briefing, go back for breakfast, come back by 7 a.m. Then if you have evening flying, you will go for a night briefing at around 7 p.m. or earlier, depending upon the first flight. And the things would be like that. Twice a week, there is PT time, which is organized. So it could be Wednesdays and Fridays. It could be Tuesdays and Thursdays. It depends upon the base. So you go for the PT, you go for a run, which is mandatory for certain, you have to qualify for a certain run in a particular time every year. So they check your physical fitness every year. Because of that, the PT happens, which is about an hour, and you're wearing your whites. So you do that also. If you are on duty at that time, you inform that I'll not be coming for PT. So the day is pretty much booked like that. But Fridays or Saturdays, if Saturday is working at the base, then generally Saturday evenings, there would be something or the other happening. You know, somebody's marriage anniversary, somebody's birthday, you will go and wish them, or they'll have a small cocktail party at home or in the mess, or you go meet friends, you talk to. Life is amazing because I think I'm more bonded to my course-mates rather than my family, my blood relations. My course-mates are my day-to-day pulse, is the kind of bond you will form. And that kind of unconditional standing by your side is very prevalent in defense. And this was one of the shockers when I came into civil life, because you don't build those kind of bonds in civil life. Yeah.
Ma'am, my next question would be, you were serving during the Kargil War as well, right? So where were you posted back then?
I was in
Kargil...
Ambala. I was in Ambala.
So it's very special for me as well, because even my dad was posted at Ambala in the number 5 squadron, which fly Jaguar. So the current chief, R.K.S. Baduria, was my dad's commanding officer back then. So how was the situation back then during Kargil War, if you can picture it for us?
So if you say the situation, I mean, I think the civilians panic more at the thought of war, but the defense is very, very organized and very, very operational ready. You know, the amount of enthusiasm that was in the base at that time was very, very high. I know Baduria sir personally also. I don't know whether he remembers me or not, but I have met him a lot in Ambala, and one of my course-mates, who's a great friend, was working directly as a technical officer in Baduria sir's squadron. So your dad must be knowing him, okay? And I was in the wing, and although I was looking after the simulator, but I was doing other things as well. So I have been on duty, like you have a duty officer. So I remember in Kargil War, during the Kargil War, I was on duty for quite a long time, 2 days plus. And I opted to be on duty because there were certain things that I had to do myself. And my daughter was only 3 years old. So I'm a single parent, and my daughter being 3 years old was never a hindrance for me. I had a good maid, and I had neighbors who were pilots, and my CNJO was staying very close to my house. So the situation was that my daughter would be taken care of by one of the families who were my neighbors. She would be fed, she would be sleeping, playing with their children, and I could work without without any issues. It used to be great to work with the men. When I say men, people I was commanding, people who were working under me, not men as men. Men is the non-officer ranks, who work with you. So you do not feel that you are alone at 2 o'clock sipping tea on duty with 20 other men. So the environment was like that. But at the same time, it used to be a little shaky also, because night flying used to happen. There were a lot of pilots who are my friends, who would be flying, and we would get news that somebody is not contactable, or some things like that, and tensions would build up. And it would really pull my heartstrings when I would come back home, and all the pilot wives would come running to my doorstep to ask, whether their husband is safe, has he come back, is he flying right now, and is everybody okay? Because it would bring back the reality of human life, like a you know a, I can't tell you. Even now, I get goosebumps when I think of those feelings, because as a family member, to be always, fearful of loss of a loved one is something which every spouse, every child who's in the census, every parent goes through if we are serving in defense. But the environment and the enthusiasm within the base, on the flying location, in the offices, is so high, it is so charged up that you don't feel that you've not gone back home. Like, I have been asked by one of my CNJOs that, Gary, they used to call me Gary, okay? So, Gary, don't you want to go and see your daughter? So I would be like, sir, I've called up, and she's fine. She's with ma'am, and because I would not want to leave the base at that time, because there's so much sense of identification, sense of belonging. You are like a family. You cry with others, you laugh with others. It's a wonderful feeling. Wonderful
Uh,
feeling.
True, ma'am, because when somebody joins armed forces, basically they take care of the nation, but the nation takes care of all of their family. That is something which even I basically resonate with. Uh, my next question would be, after you retired and you joined the civil world, what are the various lessons that you learned from military that you are currently using? Because I see that you even work on something called Project Arogyashri, and even you're a little entrepreneur as well. So how's your defense life and lessons helping you currently?
So I think the biggest lesson that defense teaches you is discipline. Okay. And when I say discipline, it goes down into everything. Discipline to be organized about your life, disciplined regarding your time management, disciplined regarding your way of life. Okay. Next, defense taught me a lot of processes. The processes in defense are so sturdy and robust. If you understand them, it is very easy to duplicate them everywhere. Because if you're organized in your thinking, and you are hardworking and passionate, and you give your 100%, you will learn the processes whether there's a teacher or not. Once you go through a process, you learn it. Then it becomes very easy to implement that process outside, you know. And that is what opens up your thinking. And it makes you very agile. When I say agile, you're adaptable. You are able to pick up new skills, adapt to new surroundings very fast, because you've seen the toughest side of life, and you've seen the easy side of life. I mean, today when I meet people and they crib that, I've not been able to go to a coffee shop, it's been 4 months. I don't get it. There are bases where defense people are posted to, where other than seeing the people who are posted with you, you'll not see another face for maybe a year. So what are you cribbing about? You're cribbing about a coffee outside. So it makes you very, very strong mentally. It makes you very, very disciplined. It makes you process oriented. And when you are all that, and when you are adaptable, and you are raring to go, learning new skills is not a challenge. You're able to master them very fast because you've set your mind to it that come what may, I will achieve that. Defense tells you, do this. You're not questioning, you're coming up with solutions at that time. So that is what defense did to me. And that is why I am successful wherever I am. Because that die-hard spirit and that josh that nothing can put you down is what keeps you successful everywhere.
I just have a couple of questions left. So the first one being, say somebody wants to join Indian Air Force as a technical officer. So what and all information, knowledge, or some basics he should know basically?
So I think if you've done your degree with a little bit of dedication and you've been through the fundamentals, it is good enough as an engineer. You need to work on your soft skills. When I say soft skills, you should be very, very, mindful of the way you dress. You should always ensure that you are in formals if you're going in for the SSB, because your first impression will count, of course, you know. And then work on your emotional intelligence as well. Be a bit disciplined, do a lot of psychometric test practice. We have a lot of apps now. I was giving some entrance to someone, and I came to know that there are so many aptitude testing apps. You don't even need to buy books, and they give you practice and stuff like that. So you can do that and work on your spoken English. Because if you're able to express in a language what you are and what you feel, comes across clearer to the interviewer. Not that if your accent is there or your grammar is wrong, they will reject you. No, because these are fields of improvement. It is when you put a mental block that mujhe English bolna nahi aata is where it all starts. So practice your English with your friends, with others, so that when you go there, even if you're thinking in your regional language, you're able to express in English. And of course, practice on various psychometric tests. Yeah.
Other than that, do you read books, or what genre do you read, and what books do you recommend for someone else?
I read a lot of books, and even though today is the age of Kindle and reading ebooks, I still love the smell of a new book, and I love buying new books. And thank God for Amazon, because you get most of the books on discount. So I read hard copies, and I read fiction. I read self-improvement books. When I say fiction, I like thrillers. I like murder mysteries. I like those investigative type of things because it feeds my brain. I read a lot of self-improvement books. I read spiritual books. Like past 2-3 years, I've been very intrigued by the Bhagavad Gita. So I read that with the translation, because I don't know Sanskrit much. But I think the Gita lessons are very powerful. And for self-improvement also, you can read a lot of books, because if you say, I forget the authors, because I'm doing stuff these days. I'm doing certain courses online to just keep myself agile. But the monk who sold his Ferrari, I think Robin Sharma. Robin Sharma is, yeah. I love his books. Then Gaur Gopal Das. Gaur Gopal Das is, I think he's a great combination of the corporate thinker and the Indian spirituality merged into one. Because if you listen to his talks on YouTube, you can relate to it so much in your day-to-day life, right? And he's come out with a book also, and the book is like I'm talking to him sitting in front of me. The book is so beautifully written. So I read authors like this. I follow Sadhguru. I follow Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. So I've read Inner Engineering of Sadhguru. I am reading Death right now by him, because I feel that if you yourself will grow as a human being, if you will stay positive, you will always be driven. You will be passionate. You will be aware, and you will be motivated to experience life in its totality. And when you are totally aware of the moment, that is the time when you can give your best. If you are stressed, you will not sleep well, you will not eat well, and you're only hankering for something, you're stressed because whatever reasons. But the minute you are able to overcome that stress and you're able to maintain a balance in your life, you are at your 100% productivity. And that is when you are able to give your best, be it to a person walking on the road, be it to the people living with you, be it with the people you're working with. So it's very important that in addition to your education, your professional education, you should strive to become a better human being always. And unfortunately, the present day education in India does not look at it. We all are hankering for money, for jobs. But if we become the best possibility of ourselves, we'll be able to get the best opportunities which are available for us. So I believe that.
So before we actually end this interview, I have one final question for you. Since today is Independence Day, what according to you is freedom or Azadi to you? What does it mean to you?
Okay. So freedom and Azadi to me is that irrespective of my caste, my creed, my gender, my social responsibility, I should be able to lead a life free of judgment from others. Okay. I should be treated at par with any other individual. I might be educated, or I might be a domestic help who has not even learned to sign my name. It's all right. I might be a man or a woman. It's all right. I might be from a society where, I'm in the top notch, or I might be someone who's living in a slum. It's all right. I should be able to experience life the same way. That is true freedom to me.
Really nice to know that, ma'am. So I've learned a lot of things about how your journey was in Indian Air Force. I was also reading about one of your initiative. It's called Arogyashri. If you would be able to give us a glance of what exactly it was. And even I read about the motto that you have in life about helping at least one life in a day. So that is something which I also resonate with. So I'd like to just know about it.
Okay. So I think I was very blessed at that time, and I would like to do that in future as well. I was working in one of the factories as an operations head in Bhiwadi, which is in Rajasthan. And I was very actively involved with the Bhiwadi Manufacturers Association. So I wanted to do something for the society. I have the skills to organize and set up and run projects. So I spoke to the president of BMA, Mr. Ram Prakash ji was the president of BMA. He's an industrialist in that area in Delhi NCR. And he was very supportive of the cause. And we spoke to the committee members, and people from the community came forward. One company gave the funds for buying the medicines. They also supported with an ambulance from the factory. We employed some people. I set up the project. We used to go to villages twice a week. So we had kind of adopted 2 villages, and we used to go every Wednesday and Friday and set up a camp for about 3 hours in that village. It expanded to almost 5 hours, because there were times when we had up to 200-300 people, even 500 people coming to the camp. A doctor was paid very minimally from the project. from the funds, and we used to buy generic medicines from a factory in Jaipur. They used to give it on very affordable rates. And initially, I was running it myself. I was managing the inventory of medicines myself. I was connecting with people myself. Then some ladies also from Bhiwadi, they joined us and they used to be part of the camp. And it was wonderful. It was very, very satisfying to do something like that, because see, we are what we are because of our destiny or the way our souls were born. We could have been born in a lesser household. I could have been born to parents who could not afford to educate me. If I have been blessed to have education and a journey like this, it is my duty to give back to the society. And if by seeing my example, even one person starts an initiative like this or gets motivated to do something like this, I think I have served the purpose. So I try to help at least one person every day. When I say help, it could be in the form of talking to them without any motive. It could be just listening to them if they are in some hardship. If I can support them monetarily, I do that as well. So I try to do that because that is what gives me satisfaction.
uh, I completely understand. So basically, all the conversation that we had will definitely help some of the aspirants or basically motivate them. So I think we'll be touching a lot of lives when this video goes live. So
Thank you for giving me the chance, Akash. Thank you for searching me out on LinkedIn and connecting with me. I'm really honored. Thank you.
yeah, so this whole conversation was really enriching for me. So thank you again for actually accepting the invite. Really, really happy with that. Thank you, ma'am. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Jai Hind. Thank you. Bye-bye.